Question number 4 is, how do you know this is something your customers want? So while most of this essay I've been talking about, build the product, there's one slight caveat, and that's to build something people want. Even companies we've discussed like Coinbase and Instacart knew their product would be something people want. Brian Armstrong knew people were interested in buying Bitcoin, but hated the current transaction services. And Apurva Mehta hated going to the grocery store and could kind of obviously assume that other people did too. And so these were actually pretty easy problems to recognize a need for. I mean, the Instacart problem appealed to billions of people, and the Coinbase problem was a little more niche, but nonetheless, these founders knew these were problems at least some sort of users wanted solutions to. Whether it was billions or millions at the time, there were users that wanted solutions to these problems and enough to build a business out of. So sometimes identifying problems requires a little more user research, though. So while these were obvious, sometimes identifying problems requires a little more user research to ensure that this is something people want, especially if you're going after an industry that hasn't really been saturated yet with companies. So current Initialized partner Parul Singh has a great quote on doing user research before creating an exceptional product. She once said, quote, "I think when we started out building things, it used to be just about functionality. How easy is it to do this? Like usability. How easy is it to go through all these workflows? And the way that that's helped me as an investor is that I also believe if you're not building for a really strong need, then it's pretty impossible to build a high growth company." And so I think sometimes my user research skills help me a lot because then you can try to understand how bad is this pain point that people are solving for, end quote. So we talked about building something people want, which is pretty straightforward. Now, but I think a lesser known aspect of this, as Parul Singh talked about just now, is designing the product in a way that most appeals to the user. Sure, Parker Conrad, founder and CEO of Rippling, who we talked about last week, knows HR teams hate using so many different platforms to onboard new employees. Rippling should create a single platform for them to onboard employees one time and give them access to the apps they need. That's an obvious problem to solve. But to be a great product that users love, you have to build it in a way that appeals to them. You have to design the platform and the workflows, the design, the functionality, so that HR professionals using the platform can easily learn how to navigate it. And all of their most important needs are most prevalent. And so Parker could have guessed what HR professionals would have wanted based on his experience, but by deeply engaging with customers, he not only knows, to build an HR platform, he knows how to build an HR platform that his users will love. So you can't just do market research and look at data to see if this is something customers want. And you can't even really build a product that solves the need based on your own opinion. If you do either, you probably won't have the true perspectives of an individual facing this problem, as in your customer. And once you extract that information by talking to enough customers with a large enough sample size, you can determine how to build the product to serve the problem. And so once you talk to so many customers and extract so much information, you'll have a large enough sample size to determine how to build the product to solve the problem for the user in the easiest and most efficient way for them. So again, I'd be making sure that they've talked to their users so that they know how to build their product. Not just that they're solving the problem, but that they're solving it in an effective way that appeals to users, or else copycats will come in and deliver a better product for that problem. And so, the second thing I kind of be looking for in this answer is just if I can feel some type of emphasis on the founder's relationship with their customers. Not only have the founders talk to them, but how often do they talk to them? How do they handle their questions or issues with the product? And, what additional features are the customers looking for? I think it's vital that you talk to your customers early on to figure out what they want, but it becomes increasingly more vital that you continue to engage with them to ensure that they're always getting the best user experience possible and no one's leaving your service for a competitor service that's begun to deliver a better experience. So This is kind of a stretch to bring this quote into this portion of the episode, but I just absolutely love these rules for fanatical customer support that Garry Tan has written about. And so if I can see a founder practicing these actions or can give me some type of proof of them doing these actions after I talk to customers using the product when I'm considering the investment, going through references, if I can see that they're practicing these 6 customer support principles, then I'm going to be very bullish about this company, about this founder. And so the 6 points that Garry Tan has talked about before are: number 1, answer every email within 10 minutes. Number 2, feel the pain your users are experiencing. Number 3, if one person emails you, there are 10 or 100 other people who have failed there. Number 4, be thankful. They are doing you a favor. Number 5, fix the problem ASAP. And number 6, be as authentic as possible. Quote, I'm the CEO. How can I help? End quote. So first of all, before I go on, listen to that again if you're a founder. That is so important. And I especially want to emphasize number 3 and 4. Again, number 3 being, if one person emails you, there are several other people who have failed there. And number 4, as being thankful because the customers are doing you a favor by reaching out to you and telling you their problem. I mean, customer feedback is so important to a product. So if one customer is frustrated enough to actually take time out of their day to email you about it, you can expect many customers are feeling that pain point as well. They just aren't telling you about it. And so you should be ultra grateful that that customer is taking the time to let you know about an issue of your product. You shouldn't be annoyed that you have to answer a customer service request. You should be ecstatic because you know how you can make your product better. So you should, I mean, frankly, tell them that. Tell them you're the CEO. Tell them you're sorry that they had this issue, and tell them how grateful you are that they told you, because now you can fix it and the process can be so much better for thousands of users who didn't take the time to tell you the problem. So thank them. I'm sure that customer will be pleasantly surprised and be a long-term user of your product, have some type of brand loyalty. So again, back to this question, if the founder can prove to me that they align with these principles and are constantly iterating and focusing on customer support, I'd be ecstatic. It shows you really care about the problem you're solving. Because if you engage closely with the customers, it shows that you really do care about the problem you're solving. Because again, that's why you should start a business. You're starting a business to solve a problem. If you're more of a mercenary and you're starting a business to get rich, you'll probably be annoyed that you have to engage with customers and solve their problems. So that's a red flag. But if you are building this business because you want the world to be different and you want these users to have a better experience because they deserve it, then you should be so happy to engage with them in a customer support fashion, because it gives you answers, direct answers on how to solve their problems rather than just assuming what they want. And also it's just nice to have principles like these, written out on paper. But, obviously the founder and the company and the team has to prove it. So take Rippling as an example. Parker Conrad, again, the CEO, is and always has been obsessed with customer service. They're so obsessed that they publish all of their customer support data on their website about, how fast they respond to issues and how well they resolve the customer's problem. All the internal data they track is on the company's website for you to look at, which is awesome, first of all. And second of all, what I love even more, and if you haven't looked at the Substack, I suggest you click the link in the show notes to the Substack to see the picture of this, because the Rippling team cares so much about customer support that they even put up a billboard that highlights their response time to customer service inquiries. The billboard is simply support response time, 0 minutes, 36 seconds, update as of February 2022. So I just love that. I want that type of founder that just cares so much about their customers, knows exactly what his or her customers want. Not just when building the product initially, but throughout the entire life of the customer. I want someone to be I want their title to be CEO slash head of customer support, because that's really what they should be doing. It's just engaging with the customers as much as they possibly can. So again, question 4 I'd ask, how do you know this is something your customers want? And I'd look for because they've just fanatically talked to their customers. They respect their customers' insights and will continue to throughout the entire life of the company.